access to free education for disadvantaged children, which reflected in shifting and making sure many of the youth are educated. Before 1994, school nutrition programs were either non-existent or very limited, particularly for disadvantaged children. The lack of structured program led to widespread malnutrition amongst children in disadvantaged communities, negatively impacting their education and overall well-being. After 1994, the introduction of the National School Nutrition Program marked a significant shift, providing millions of children with daily meals, improving their health, school attendance, and academic performance. This program reflects the post-apartheid government commitment to addressing the past inequalities and supporting holistic development for South African children. Before 1994, the healthcare system was deeply unequal, with disadvantaged children, particularly black children, having limited access to quality healthcare. The apartheid government policy resulted in significant disparities in which the outcomes with a high rate of preventable diseases and mortalities amongst disadvantaged children. After 1994, the democratic government introduced significant reforms aimed at creating a more equitable healthcare system. These reforms include the expansion of primary healthcare services, free healthcare for young children, and targeted programs to improve the healthcare to disadvantaged children. While these progresses has been made in improving the access to healthcare outcomes, challenges remain, particularly in the equitable quality of care across all regions. They are but some of the achievements post-apartheid government. However, young people in South Africa are still faced with many socio-economic challenges, including high unemployment, social inequalities, drug and crime and gender-based violence and corruption. These pressing issues have created a generation that is increasingly delusioned and frustrated. Yet, despite these challenges, we are a thriving nation. South Africa recently showcased its resilience and talent on the world stage of Olympic in France, where the athletics made us proud. We also celebrated the historic appointment of the first female Chief Justice, a testament that our nation is progressing in gender equality and justice. Just yesterday, our Springbok trampled against the All Blacks, once again proving that we are a force to be reckoned with. However, South Africa has recorded 156 days of sustained electricity supply, bringing an end of a record load shedding that had crippled our economic growth and forced business to raise prices to cover up the cost of energy security. This achievement underscores our capacity to overcome challenges and drive progress. However, not all is well. We must also address the concerning issues of extortions in the country, mainly in Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Eastern Cape, which have been causing severe distress to local businesses and communities. This rise in criminal activities aimed at extorting money from businesses is undermining the economic stability, delaying investment in the region. The ANC Youth League calls for immediate decisive action from the law enforcement, and we urge the Minister of Police, Comrade Senzo Mchunu, to take strong measures to deal with criminal and restore safety and order in South Africa. This month, instead of celebrating, we will dedicate our efforts to address critical challenges head on. We will use the anniversary as a platform to drive meaningful change, ensure that the voice of the youth of South Africa are heard, and that the struggles of acknowledging them is addressed. The ANC Youth League stands resolute in its commitment to fight a better future for all young South Africans. On unemployment, to address South Africa's severe unemployment crisis, the Youth League has declared unemployment a disaster. If not addressed swiftly, it could lead to a widespread youth unrest with the potential to bear consequences for the economy. The South African population has increased from 7.6 million in 1924 to 60 million in 2024, an increase of 689.5%, and that necessitates proportional increase in job opportunities to prevent a high level of unemployment. The failure to match economic growth with population increase can result in significant economic and social issues. The youth unemployment in particular is severe, which over 70% of African youth currently are out of work. This has led to a frustrated and has led young people to protest. The recent data indicates a 0.8% increase in unemployment, emphasizing that the youth needs more active public policies. The current policies fail to effectively link economic growth with labor market capacity to observe the workers. Therefore, there is a need for policies that foster both economic growth and improve economic abilities to create jobs. To address this, there must be an increase of investment in capital infrastructure projects that can create jobs. Additionally, implement for presidential stimulus program, which will be central plan to aim in boosting the economic growth and create jobs through targeted initiatives. State-owned entities play a critical role in our economy, but are currently underperforming. The Ancyl League is firm that there should be no privatization of state-owned entities. That we must change the business model of our state-owned entities to serve the developmental mandate, in particularly on commanding the heights of our economy. Eskom and Transnet play a critical role in the input of the cost across the economy. Therefore, you cannot afford to have those critical sectors of our economy under private hands. Electricity and transport have a potential to drive high cost of living crisis, to make our economy unproductive. It is important that these two productive forces must be kept cost-effective to stimulate investment in productive sectors of our economy, to create much-needed jobs in our economy. South African youth need jobs. We are saying the only way to create jobs into this country is to industrialize the South African economy. Beyond the focus on profit-making, it is entirely achievable to place state-owned entities on a sustainable path, especially given that they have been surviving through guarantees from National Treasury and government. If well managed, SOEs can play a crucial role in leading a role of addressing the social and economic challenges that affect our country. The Ancyl League also calls for reservation of specific industries for only South Africans for business opportunities and employment, which includes spaza shops, food deliveries, restaurants, securities, e-hailing services, construction, and many other similar sectors. These industries are crucial entry points into the job market, especially for young and unskilled workers. By prioritizing South Africans in these sectors meaningfully, it is meaningful progress that can be made to reduce unemployment and provide more opportunities for the youth to secure stable and dignified work. The strategic use for South African mineral resources is crucial. The Ancyl League has made an important call that more than 70% of raw mineral resources must be exported. They must be used domestically to assist to reindustrialize the economy. Only 30% must be exported. This approach aims to leverage mineral resources to address developmental challenges and stimulate economic growth. Addressing the unemployment crisis requires a manifested approach, including tackling skills mismatches, fostering investment in capital infrastructure projects, ensuring that key economic sectors are reserved for South Africans only. All social transformation agents must work together to achieve economic and social benefits and continue to fight for national development and liberation. On the government of national unity. The Ancyl League is closely monitoring the progress of the government of national unity. It is encouraged to see it functioning and intent. However, we are deeply disappointed by the recent remarks made by the Secretary General or the General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, who has labeled the ANC sellouts for its decision to invite political parties to form part of the government of national unity. The ANC Youth League has got a very good relationship with the Young Communist League and will engage them on the unfortunate attack on the Secretary General of the African National Congress. We have also engaged the SG of the ANC to not respond on social media on critical, serious political matters which can be addressed in other platforms. Let's remind you that the ANC was not given a full mandate by South Africans to govern on its own. That's why we found ourselves under government of national unity, which includes the SACP. Anyone who has a problem with the structure of the government of national unity must immediately withdraw their deployees, prepare to win the next elections on their own, so that they can implement things the way they feel they should implement them. Now, everyone who's the government of national unity is commanded by one president, which is President Ramaphosa, and the under government of the African National Congress, invited by the African National Congress, including the SACP. We remain dedicated to ensure that the GNU serves the interests of South Africans. South Africans don't want a lot of theories, but they want their lives to be changed. They want service delivery. They want to continue, we will continue to hold the GNU accountable. This includes not only those from the ANC, but also those from other parties involved in the national effort. We'll engage with the government to ensure that the work is being done and that all leaders, regardless of their political affiliation, fulfill their responsibilities. Regarding holding deployees accountable, we'll continue with our meetings to convene all deployees, ministers and deputy ministers at the House, to account for the work that they are doing under the government of national unity to represent the interest of the youth. The ANC Youth League cleanup campaign. The ANC Youth League will participate in a cleanup campaign working together with community members, law enforcement agencies, home affairs, and all responsible government entities on a program to fight against government-hijacked buildings, construction mafias, drug lords, and undocumented foreigners. The issue of undocumented foreigners in South Africa is a grave concern that must be addressed with urgent and firmness. The unchecked influx of undocumented foreigners, nationals, is a direct threat to our national security, economy, and social fiber. The recent reports, such as the recent bust of illegal syndicates involved in 80 million weight of smuggling of goods, the drug labs that we've seen in Limpopo, the highlights of several impacts of illegal migrants in our own country. This operation revealed how illegal networks undermine our economy, invade our taxes, and contribute to the criminal activities, including the extortion and drug trafficking. The ANC Youth League demands immediate strengthening of our border control mechanism to prevent the influx of undocumented national foreigners. It is imperative that we enforce a strict border security to safeguard our country's sovereignty and protect the interests of South African citizens. We are committed to addressing the employment of illegal foreigners in sectors that should be reserved for South Africans. We will work with the businesses and relevant stakeholders to ensure compliance with labor laws, prioritizing the employment of South African citizens. This is not mainly a matter of legal adherence, but a critical step towards reducing unemployment and ensuring that the economic benefits our country the economic benefit of our country is enjoyed by South African people. This month, instead of celebrating, we'll dedicate also our efforts to addressing all those socio-economic problems. On corruption. Corruption remains a significant obstacle to the progress and development of our nation. The ANC Youth League maintains a firm stance that those charged with corruption must be removed from government positions until they clear their names. If these individuals are ANC members, they must face internal disciplinary measures and be subjected to illegal elections. The ANC Youth League calls for a zero-tolerance approach to corruption within government and the private sector. We will not tolerate any attempt to shade corrupt individuals from accountability, regardless of their position or influence. The fight against corruption is not only about punishing wrongdoers, but it's also about restoring the integrity of our institutions and ensuring that the public resources are used for the benefit of South Africans. We also urge the government to expand the investigation and prosecution corruption cases, ensure that justice is served swiftly and transparently. The ANC Youth League will continue to monitor these efforts closely and hold those in power accountable for their own actions. pre-elections commitments by the ANC and the president. On NSFAS, pre-elections, NSFAS was collapsed by corruption, maladministration. We urgently called the Minister of Higher Education to resolve the maladministration in the entity. NSFAS 2 is a huge transformation instrument to fail. It's too huge to fail. We will be on the ground mobilizing all stakeholders in the sector to ensure that NSFAS and all institutions of higher learnings are placed at the top of the agenda of every meeting of government. Our country's economy relies on the knowledge of production center. The effectiveness is a priority. Now, NSFAS must stop frustrating students. They must urgently pay for fees, pay for accommodation, pay for stipends as per the commitment made by the government of the ANC. On the employment and labor, the president has announced before elections a skills program of 23 billion to upskill the youth through the Department of Labor. We are calling on the president to fast-track the program as we are unhappy with the slow pace of the implementation of this program. On export quotas, the president has made a commitment on the reindustrialization program of the creation of jobs. We call upon the president to fast-track the implementation of this program, which will contribute towards job creation. We have put together a document to this effect. We will be meeting liberation forces across the SADC region and the continent to ensure that Africa's development is anchored on beneficiation of our mineral resources to create jobs for all our countries. Africa's youth to benefit. It is time for Africa to rise again. On the health, we will be making a follow-up on the Department of Health program, which aims on employing unemployed doctors. On the 80th anniversary, as the ANC Youth League, as we commemorate 80th anniversary of the Youth League, we'll use the special month to address issues affecting the youth and particularly unemployed young people. Through the consultation meetings such as those we have had with SALGA and NHAU, we'll continue to engage various stakeholders of the organization to find solutions to the pressing challenges. This month, the ANC Youth League will not organize a rally like how we always do it. The ANC Youth League on the 11th of October 2024 will organize a march to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange where we will submit a memorandum of demand that the JSE and other private sector partners must be able to play a crucial role to address the issues of the crisis of unemployment in South Africa. On the 10th of September, we will hold a conversation with former leaders of the Youth League to reflect on what they have done and the work that we must do moving forward. The ANC Youth League remains committed to struggle for a better future for all young people in South Africa. As we celebrate our 80th anniversary, we will do so with a renewed sense of purpose and determination to address the pressing issues facing our nation. We call on all young South Africans to join us in this fight and to actively participate in shaping the future of our country. The 80th anniversary of the Youth League should mark a turning point in the lives of our organization and its mother body. It should be defined by a recommitment to an historic ideal of national liberation. We'll continue to use the ANC Youth League as a voice of the voiceless without fear or favor. If our demands are not responded to, as per our pre-election commitment, we'll mobilize all young people to the doors of Union Building. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade President. We will now take questions based on that which the President just read as the statement, the 80th anniversary statement of the ANC Youth League. So we will now invite questions regarding the statement by show of hands. There's only one, Natasha. Number two. Okay, for now in number three. For now, let's go in that sequence. Thank you. Number one.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Number 2.
Thank you. I'm Lunga Simulane from City Press. My question is similar to my colleague. The Youth League says that they plan to engage the SACP. Can we just get details in terms of that? What will these engagements entail, and what is the organization basically hoping to get from these engagements? Considering the fact that it just seems like the SACP, specifically the SG, is just set on its stance about the GNU. So what is the Youth League basically hoping to get from these engagements? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That was the last one, President, if I invite you back.
Thank you very much, Spokes. On the issue of the negotiations, there was a clear consultation with all people that worked with us. The ACCP is in an alliance with the African National Congress. When it comes to deployment and all of that, they've been there. Because what worries us as the Youth League is that the same ACCP that has a problem with the government of national unity, which has placed it as a position of sellouts, where we've invited everyone and opened the door to everyone, including those that have no offices, which their offices don't know where they are. We've also invited them to the GNU. The EFF has also invited to the GNU. Maybe now that Floyd is gone in the EFF, maybe we must invite them again, because we know that the stumbling block there was Floyd because of his hatred for the African National Congress. Now with the new development, maybe they might want to come and re-engage. But ACCP was engaged on all of these things. That's why they've deployed. The ACCP national chair is the Minister of Science and Technology. Some of the Central Committee members of the ACCP and cabinet, others are deputy ministers, others are ministers. Now, they are a party working with us in the GNU. Now, we believe that anything that they are saying is just populist stance. But look, the best GNU we'll love to have in the future, maybe, if we're to be honest, maybe it's with the SSCP. Because the only ones that we believe that might move towards the left properly is the ACCP. There is no EFF or Mkonto Wesizwe that is left laying towards any other progressive direction. Now, there's no difference between that and them and the DA. They're all political organizations. If you can check who is funding them, you'll see they're all funded by the same people. Now, their obsession, all of them, is to remove the ANC out of power. Now, the only party that have been working with them since '94 is the Communist Party. Now, if the Communist Party feels that they've gathered enough structures on the ground, they can assist us to bring back the 60% that we have lost. It was like 40%. Let it be. It will be good assistance on our side. It will assist us, but they must urgently withdraw all their deployees. Because you can't say why a GNU of sellouts when your national chair is there within the GNU of Government of National Unity. Now, it lacks a bit of constantly. But the Solomon Pailat, we know, that is a product of the Youth League and COSAS and many other structures of the movement. He's very brave. We know that he will, it's either he will agree with the ANC on how the GNU work, or he will immediately withdraw those that are from the party who are in the GNU, so that we are seeing action. Then later on, he must set up structures to contest elections on his own and stop being under the skate of the African National Congress. Now, that's the bravery that we want from the SCP. Anything else is cowardice. On the issue of engagements, yes, we'll engage them, because we don't want them to That's why we'll engage the YCL, we'll encourage the ANC to engage the ACP, because those public statements are not assisting us to move forward, especially under the setback that we're in. Because we're under a setback. Progressive forces have been pushed to 40% in the last elections. Now, that's a setback. It means 60% is in the hands of people who don't know who they represent. Now, we want us to engage with them that how best do you think we can assist us to go out of the setback apart from throwing stones at the African National Congress? I think I've answered on our engagement with the ACP. On the corruption, look, we were clear on corruption. The ANC is clear on their stance. We've set up commissions. Those that are charged of corruption, they know they must step aside. Everyone who's charged of corruption in the ANC, step aside. You can go and check. There's no one who's charged of any crime who is still a leader of the ANC. We've always told them that they must step aside and go and clear their name. And they've done that with discipline. Many of our comrades have done that. Those that did not listen to step aside, they went and formed a political party called Mkhonto Wesizwe. If you can see, in most cases, all those that are charged or are seen to have collapsed state entities, everyone that is associated with corruption, you'll find them in Mkhonto Wesizwe. Now, Mkhonto Wesizwe has become a home of the corrupt. Now, anyone that wants to be subject to step aside of the ANC, they know they go to Mkhonto Wesizwe and leave the ANC as clean as it is. Now, on our term of office achievement, we've achieved a lot. Apart from the parliamentarians that we have a lot in parliament, we have a big representation in parliament now. We're able to push many programs. One of the programs that we're busy pushing on is all illegal foreigners. All mayors are aligning in all the metros, if you can check. There's a clear program now of cleaning buildings that are occupied by illegal foreigners. There's a clear program now of a program of the stimulus program of the presidency. There's a clear program of the 23 billion set aside to reskill the unemployed youth. There's a clear program of agriculture and creating the corridors of the economy in many corners of the country. Those are one of the achievements that we've achieved, and we want to achieve more. We're saying that we're less than 2 years in office. We have just completed a year now in office a few months ago, and those are things that we can say we're working very hard to achieve. Our own deputy president is deployed in the Department of Labor. We've told him that that department must be used effectively to address all of these issues that the youth league is raising, because it's a first platform to address them, because that's why you enforce the issue of undocumented workers who are put in restaurants and exploited by the restaurant because they underpay them, because they know they are in the country illegally. Now, those are issues that we want to speak about. There's a white paper also of Home Affairs, which has been published by the former minister at that time, Comrade Aaron Motsoaledi. Those were influences of the ANC Youth League, and we want to do more. We're saying that the reason we're here in the Tula House every day is to make sure that we hold everyone accountable and the issues are in place. But at the center of what we want to resolve is the issue of drugs, youth unemployment, gender-based violence, issues of NSFAS, because the ANC has been rejected in all institutions of Highland in the past elections because of how we mismanaged the issue of NSFAS. If you can check, all campuses where the students, the youth protested against the ANC. If they did not vote, they voted for any other political party, but not the ANC. Because of a program that the ANC has created and committed to them, that all the young people from Venda, from Tata, from everywhere else, from very poor backgrounds, they must have access to education through the program of NSFAS. Now, NSFAS played a very crucial role also to put the ANC at 40%. Because the youth, there's no way the youth will support an organization that does not care about them, especially after they've committed. But also, there's issues that we've raised. We said after we've put so many graduates outside, we need to create employment plan for them. But what is the use of creating a labor force that will not be able to put them in the labor spaces to work, in the workspaces to work, and be full participant in their own economy? Now, those are achievements, and we're monitoring them closely. That's why our first action is on the 10th, is on the 11th of October. It's not for the first time the Youth League goes to the JSE. In 2011, the Youth League went to the JSE. We're not only marching with our demands, but also making follow-ups on the demands that we've made. We'll further in the year, because we're going to spend 2 months dealing with those issues. We're going to march to the union building for youth employment, march against crime, because we've committed to the president that, President, we're mobilizing young people to vote for the African National Congress, but we're not coming there with a blank check. Now, we want full commitments and time frames on when all those socio-economic problems can be resolved. Now, we're busy every day on those issues, and we believe that by the time we're in our midterm, we'll be able to come back again and report of some of the achievement. But we've achieved a lot, and it has not been done before. When I was in Parliament, the last term, were only 3, if not 4, under 35 MPs, who are now over 17. Under these difficult conditions of the GNU, we have lost so many seats. We are at more than 17, below 35 young people in parliament. Now, those are things that we need to speak about every day, because those are our achievements, and we want to do more. We want everyone to partner with us to resolve these problems. And we're preparing also to organize a national dialogue where we'll invite all the youth and women from all sectors to come also and shape this thinking of the president. Because before the national dialogue that is announced, the youth must be able to develop a program on what kind of a country that they want. We'll invite young people in the media, young people in sports, young people in art and culture, young people in crime prevention, young people from all corners of the country, in churches, everywhere else, to come and shape. It won't be just a meeting of comrades of the ANC. We'll open up this meeting to everyone to say that how best do you want us to shape the country moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm getting a signal from officials that they are okay. In the absence of any follow-up hands, okay. I see one hand, and that will be the last hand of the day. Yes, you can shoot, my brother.
The mic.
Kupa mic.
President, I just want to touch, and as we touch the concern regarding the issues in the country that are affecting the youth. President and the leadership, when it comes to the TT-FAS, is Yobi's, it's worse in the country. It's a fact. It's destroying the youth of the country, and those that are taking those drugs, they go out after taking drugs because they're influenced, they go out and attack the innocent. So I don't recall anyone in the country and the youth structures make a noise about it, because it seems that we're taking it very, very lightly. It's a concern. So as a new office that came in yourselves, what would be your stance regarding that? Because really, and there are those that are benefiting, those that are driving their Rolls Royce, you must like and all that, staying in the suburbs. But the consumers is our kids in our country that are get destroyed. So I want to talk to that. Thank you very much.
All right. We'll invite, there's a follow-up hand from Natasha. Yes, you may shoot.
It's just actually from my colleague who's watching online. She asked us about Steenhuisen's chief of staff, who's been recently appointed. I think he's on some podcast, and he's an alleged racist. Your reaction to this?
All right. Okay. We'll invite President again.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will start with the issue of drugs. I think the Youth League, we've been vocal about the issue of drugs. That's why we've ended up deciding to launch what we call a cleanup campaign. Because speaking about this thing and not acting does not assist. That's why we're calling upon all stakeholders that we must reclaim back our townships, we must reclaim back our villages, we must reclaim back our towns, we must reclaim back our country from drugs, because it's a big problem. Drugs has caused high level of damage of property in our communities, crime, it has divided families, it has caused a lot of problems that is moving the country backwards. Now, on the issue of drugs, we're on it, it's on top of our agenda. part of the cleanup campaign, which we'll be having with our stakeholders, is to address some of those issues, including drugs and undocumented foreigners. SABC on the issue of Steenhuisen staff. Look, South Africans have put us in this mess because of teaching us a lesson that if you don't respond to their socio-economic problems. But the problem is that now we're forced to in an environment that is very difficult. You know, we are working with people that normally in the past will not work with them. But the GNU has also proven a lot of things. That it is not true that the cadre deployment in the ANC, it only is in the ANC, it only deploys uneducated people. If you can check the profile of ministers that have been deployed, the most educated they are ANC. Starting with Steenhuisen, he doesn't have a post-matric qualification. But there was a myth all over the country that the most uneducated people are in the ANC. The racists are in the DA, they're not in the ANC. The racists have been the DA, even in the beginning of parliament, there was a member of parliament of the DA that is known of racist remarks. Now, these are the disadvantages that were faced with in the GNU. But that must not be allowed. That person must not be allowed to form part of our government. I think if there's one thing that must unite us as a country, is that we can't allow anyone who will take us backwards to racism. Because the nation that we're trying to build has no space for that. And someone must talk to Steenhuisen, that he must not allow that. But also, you can't say when it's black people who are not qualified, it's a problem. But when it's white people, there's nothing wrong with it. Now, the same categories want to put for deployment of people in political offices or wherever, and say the requirement is a diploma, degrees, even in departments where they are led by opposing parties, including the DA, they must be able to produce certification, because that can be only classified for only black people. Now, we're clear on that one, that we need to monitor them closely. We know that most of them have not went to school. We know that for many years in the Western Cape, they've been using killer deployment, and they've been saying that it's the ANC only that does that. They went to court and said that the ANC must produce killer deployment documents. Then when we requested their documents of the Western Cape, even today we have not received them, because we know what happens in the Western Cape on the issue of killer deployment. But in the ANC, we're clear now. We will only deploy people that are qualified and are responding to the requirement. If you can go to now, those who have been deployed, you can see we've deployed our best now in government, because we've learned from our mistakes. South Africans have revolted that the ANC must give them their best in state-owned entities, must give them their best in departments, must give them their best everywhere. Now, as part of our renewal program and self-correcting, we're correcting some of those issues. Now, on that matter of the racist, not long ago in Swane, they also employed a bodybuilder there as a chief of staff. Now, is there a thing of not deploying people that are rightfully placed into this department? Now, we know the DA, but it's good that we're with them in government. So South Africans see that the ANC, with all its mistakes, is the best organization that has got the interests of South Africans at heart. It's the only organization that listens when the people of South Africa speaks. Now, it's good that they're here with us so they can see. That's why we must also, SG, engage the ANC now that Floyd has left, because Floyd has now been a member of the ANC, to clarify it. Floyd, even when he was in the Youth League, was only a member of the ANC Youth League. He never joined the ANC. He has never liked the ANC. Now that he has left to join the Nkandla political party, we need to re-engage the EFF to say that the doors are not closed. Come and re-engage. This is a government that must build and make sure to resolve all socio-economic problems led by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think safe to say this then brings our media briefing to its conclusion. Let's thank everybody who took their time to join us here. Thank the officials of the ANC Youth League as led by President Colin Malachi. Thank you very much. Till we meet again.